Generation 5 is widely liked among Pokemon fans, at least nowadays. It definitely did quite a lot right for the series, and obviously this isn't the video to talk about that stuff. If you want to watch that video, I have it on the channel and I will link it in the description. This video will of course be talking about some unused content for Black and White, so obviously I will not talk about Black and White 2. And also, any and all information I will be talking about in the video is gone from the cutting room floor. But the first thing that went unused is a piece of text at the very start of the game, and I will put it on screen. It did go unused by Charin, and the only reason why it wouldn't happen is because in your very first battle against Bianca, you would almost guarantee to get hit at least once, so obviously they just cut it out just because, again, it would be impossible. There was some other unused text, and this was most likely leftovers from Generation 2, since it relates to the Battle Frontier, and these games were right before Black and White. Again, I will put the text on screen for you to see. And then there's also some text that relates to Darmanitan Zen mode. It's show, and what it says is Zen mode triggered and Zen mode ended. In game, the ability does not have a unique message, so it wouldn't happen, and I'm guessing that's why it just went unused. These next lines of text I actually find really interesting, and it relates to the weather. And the line reads, "Fog crept up as thick as soup, and the fog lifted." This doesn't have any effect in battle, so I'm guessing it's only for an overworld aesthetic, but they did manage to put this line in the next installment, that being Black and White 2. The final cut line of text I want to go over is related to a wild Pokemon escaping from a Pokeball, and the line reads, "Shoot, it was so close too." This message did appear in earlier games, and it was used for a Pokeball shaking 3 times. This message was originally used for a 2-shake escape, but there isn't any of that in Gen 5, and this message was replaced with another line for the 3-shake escape, that being, "Oh, almost had it." Now moving on to some earlier versions of some maps, and one of them has to be the Nacrene Museum. This does exist on the ROM, and it has completely different textures along with having extra polygons where there shouldn't be. It also has different movement positions, which I guess is there because of the extra polygons, maybe. I don't know all the technical stuff, but that's my guess. There's also a video showcasing this, and I will also link that in the description for anyone that wants to see. But some key differences has to be how the area now has a doormat at the entrance of the building. A doorway that leads into the gym now has different movement positions, and now it's changed to being 3 spaces wide, and there are no longer artifacts on the shelves, and the signs that would have been there are now replaced with flower pots. Again, watch the video I have linked if you want to see it in full. Then there was also a earlier version of the starting area, that being November Town. The layout didn't end up changing as much, but the geometry is very simple, and the shoreline near the front doesn't have any detail that was present in the final game. The collision here does lead that there could have been another model for the lab, but again, it hasn't been found yet. And the model for the houses and the lab have been replaced with tables and parasols. Something else that's interesting about the map is that the tile sets used cannot be found in-game whatsoever, and the name Tile Set 02 is the closest match to it. But other than that, nothing else comes close. And moving on from unused map, there are some unused key items ranging from the Gen 4 games to even the Gen 2 remakes. Some items that went unused were Pokeballs ranging from the Safari Balls to the Bug Catching Contest Balls, and a few other ones that were related to the Apricons. If they are hacked into the game, they cannot be used whatsoever at any point, but the Dream Balls on the other hand, they can be used as normal Pokeballs, and if they were hacked in, you can use them outside the on-tree forest. And then we have some actual unused key items, and this one was a Poketoy. Normally this is an item, but for some reason they programmed it as a key item. My 2 guesses for this was because maybe they didn't want players to be able to escape for free, and the other one is that it could have been used for testing reasons. The exact reason isn't known, but again, this is what I can guess from just the situation around it. This next one I feel is a little bit more well known, but I'm going to mention it anyways, and that's the Log Catspel. This one was an event in the Gen 2 remakes, and this would be able to let you transfer into Black and White. Of course, it never did get distributed, but still works if you hack it in, and if you bring it to a character in Castelia City, that being Mr. Locke, you get TM95 Snarl. And then there was a stone that also went unused, and it's called the God Stone. This one is a recolor of the Light and Dark Stone. The color is gray, and the description for it is really short, and it just reads a rare stone. Then we have some Pokemon whose hidden abilities never were in these games, but most if not all of them were attainable in later entries. Some of them were given out via distribution events like the Unova and Johto starters, along with the legendary boards and the legendary legendary golem. Some other ones were attainable via breeding like Rufflet, Clink, and Gothita. The last topic I actually want to go over is some unused graphics, and one of the graphics that were unused was a set of English letters and a bunch of different Japanese fonts. These were able to put in text judging from the screens, which I will show. And the Japanese letters that were here were from the Hiragana and Katakana language or writing style. I don't exactly know which, I'm pretty sure it's just a writing style. There were also a bunch of different set numbers for whatever reason, and all the graphics that are present in the code are in every single region release of the game, that being the Americans, the Europeans, and the Japanese release. Then there are some graphics that are relating to either just a sound test and the whole mixer, and obviously I will show all of this on screen as well. But again, these ones were also present in every single region release of the game. And these next graphics that I want to use really interest me just because they were supposed to be used for a camera control. I want to bet this might have been used to change the angle of the overworld, but considering hidden paths I feel can be noticeable without changing the camera angle, I doubt it. Then there are also some unused Wonder Launcher item sprites which all relate to the Max Ether, Elixir, and Max Elixir. Then there's also a really early picture of Route 1, and it definitely does look like an early version. For some reason, it shows up 4 times in the ROM, and my only guess is that they want to fill out space on the cartridge. I'll put both on screen for you guys to compare, but some notable changes is that there aren't any seasonal effects, and there's no fence in the upper left. Then there were some transparency issues for whatever reason, so the sprites for the protagonists, that being Herbert and Hilda, have black pixels where there should have been white pixels. And we all know the X transceiver and what it does in game, but did you know that there were some different layouts for it, and some tile maps that of course never went used? The one that is just a line from top to bottom really makes me glad that they didn't use it, just because the layout of the DS would have been terrible for that. Then there was a generic test image for the Pokédex, and it was only used of course for the skins whenever they got to that. It's also been said that they were also used to test any DLC skins would work by switching to a debugging flag if I'm correct, and I don't really understand what that means since I'm not a developer, but I'm sure anyone else would understand if they actually know what it is. Something else that also went unused is some sprites for the Delivery Man NPC, mostly his facing right and facing forward sprite. Since his walk cycle never shows him walking in those positions, they just scrapped it. That is because, he's already in the Poké Center when he spawns, so that might be a reason why, just because they don't need the other ones. And another graphic that went unused was the Wi-Fi connection screen from Platinum. And that's pretty much the only thing that exists for it, since it's unknown if the animations for the screens are there. Then there were also the Japanese logos for Diamond and Pearl and the 3D models for the legendaries that were used at the title screen. I have no idea why it's there, but sure, whatever I guess. And that's pretty much most, if not all, of the unused content that was in the black and white games. And what did you guys find the most interesting? I found the Nacrene Museum early map design to be the most interesting part. But regardless, thank you all for watching and see you guys later. And what other kinds of unused content video do you guys want to see from me? Leave those thoughts in the comments below. And again, see you guys later.